What they took from your body. The sacred gifts of the cyclical woman. Church of Sophia. A rooted restoration service, June 7th, 2026. Today, as we gather, Uranus enters Gemini. Uranus is the planet of awakening, of the thing held underground finally breaking the surface, of liberation from structures, so old that we stopped seeing them as structures and started seeing them as facts. Gemini is the sign of the mind, of information, of how knowledge moves or doesn't between people. Today, the planet of liberation enters the sign of the mind. And I want to ask you something. What does a liberated mind need to know? What information have you been withholding from yourself? What did they take? What did they withhold from you when they took your cycle literacy? That is what we are here to find out. And before we go anywhere, I want you to come into your body first, right now. Not in your mind, not in your history, but in your body, right here, wherever you are. And I want you to feel something. I want you to feel what it felt the last time your body was trying to tell you something and you overrode it and you pushed through and you took the Midol and you smiled and you showed up to the event you didn't want to go to anyway. Feel the texture of that, because I want you to hold that feeling, that crunchiness for this entire service. Because by the time we are done, I want you to understand that that override was not self-discipline. That was the cost of not listening. And your body has been paying that bill for a long time. Let's begin by reading from the Rooted Restoration. Your cycle was treated as an inconvenience, as liability, as symptom, and then monetized back to you as the problem requiring their solution. In the body, the tool is extraction. Take the knowing, erase the cycle, sell the dysfunction back as fitness, as diet, as pharmaceutical intervention, profit from the hunger that was created. That is not metaphor. That is the business model of women's health. Your body runs a complete, intelligent, four-phase system as old as the moon, as precise as the tides. A system designed, not broken, designed to give you 4 different kinds of knowing across every single month of your life. That system was taken from you, not all at once, phase by phase, gift by gift, replaced each time with shame. And here's what I've come to understand, standing in this body, living this life. Every phase where you become harder to extract from gets labeled as a problem, every single time. The phase that gave you the most power, discernment, revelation, magnetism, emergence, were the exact phases that they worked hardest to suppress, to pathologize, to monetize. That was not an accident. And your body has been trying to tell you your whole life. The question is, were you ever taught to listen? So let's get into it. Let's go through all of the 4 phases today. Let's talk about the gifts and the possibility and what is in store for all of us. So phase 1, the bleeding time. Let's start with the most obvious theft, because the most obvious one is the most instructive. Your menstrual phase is the phase of revelation. On day 1 and 2 of your bleed, both estrogen and progesterone have bottomed out, and your brain literally has to recalibrate. The fog you feel, that is not weakness. That is your operating system rebooting with new information. The veil is thinnest here. In the Volva traditions, the Norse seers and the Scottish second sight lineages, the oracle women across every ancient culture, they understood something about bleeding women that we have been taught to forget. This is the oracle time, the time when the body becomes the receiver, the time when things move through that have no other way to come. Ideas come through the bleed. Clarity arrives. The thing you have been circling for weeks, they land. Not because you are performing, not because you are producing, because you have finally gotten quiet enough to hear. They called it unclean. They built a religion that called her power shameful and her blood dangerous and her rest lazy. They handed her a pill to silence it and called it liberation. They took the instrument itself, 600,000 hysterectomies a year in the United States alone, right? When women wouldn't be quiet enough. They took the instrument of our receiving. Divine knowledge is passed through our womb. The most oracle phase of a woman's cycle, the time she is most in contact with what is true, made dirty, made invisible, made something to manage, to hide, to push through. When the body's deepest knowing gets suppressed long enough, when the revelation has nowhere to go, the body stops whispering and starts screaming. Endometriosis, fibroids, adenomyosis, PMOS, formerly known as PCOS. The body in revolt, the body that kept being overridden, finally overriding itself through autoimmune conditions. The reclamation. Bleed on it is so simple but so powerful. I love this phrase. This is from Loose Warrior from the Let There Be Loose podcast. She talks about, don't make a big decision until you have crossed through your bleed. Let the reset complete. Let the revelation come. What arrives on the other side is the real answer, and your body already knows. You just have to stop performing long enough to hear it. The body spoke in the bleed. It gave you revelation. It gave you reset. It showed you what was true. And the blood stopped, and the body kept speaking. It just changed languages. Phase 2, the emergence. The follicular phase is when our energy comes back. Estrogen begins to rise. The fog lifts. You feel capable, generative, expansive. You can see 3 steps ahead. You know where to begin. You feel, finally, after the quiet of bleed, like your full self again. The sacred gift of follicular is emergence. This is the phase designed for your new beginnings, your vision, your seeds, the things that came through your bleed when you were quiet and still, are ready to push through the ground now. This is also the phase when it's hardest for women to say no. The estrogen that makes you feel expansive also makes you permeable, open. And because you feel so capable, because the yes comes so easily right now, you sign up for everything. For committees, for favors, for projects that aren't yours, for the list that someone else is building. And women are enormously rewarded for this. This actually happened to me yesterday, something I had jumped into in the follicular phase. Now I'm in the luteal phase, and I had a follow-up about it. And I said, I really need to make sure we're have our alignment on timing and priority and how much time this is going to require, because I want to make sure I'm committing with my full heart. And I was able to say yes so much more fully because I had that luteal clarity. Women are enormously rewarded for chopping ourselves into pieces for everyone else. The follicular woman who says yes gets called generous, dependable, a team player. She gets the gold star. And let's be clear, this is never monetized. She just really gets a lot of pats on the back for saying yes to everything. This is the martyr complex in action. The woman who keeps signing up for the cross, who says yes in follicular phase and wonders why she's so bitter in the luteal phase, not understanding that the bitterness is the accumulated unpaid debt to herself. Every yes she gave away was a withdrawal from her own account. But by luteal, the account is overdrawn, and she doesn't even understand why she's so angry, because she chose it, right? Nobody forced her. But the cycle didn't manufacture her bitterness. There was just a huge cost she wasn't taught to be paying attention to. A woman who never spends her follicular energy on her own vision, who never builds anything of her own, cycle after cycle, year after year. The generative power that could have built something sacred, spent on someone else's infrastructure. Spend your yes on yourself first. Before the asks come in, what is your vision for this cycle? What seed needs your energy? Fill that container first. What is left can go elsewhere. You are not being selfish. You're protecting the source. Your emergence was real. The energy was real. The vision was real. The question was never whether the gift was there. The question was always, who is it for? And your body answered that question too. Phase 3, the full bloom. Ovulation is peak. Estrogen is at its highest, testosterone surges, your hair is glossier, your face is more symmetrical, your voice shifts, your presence expands, you are magnetic in a way that is not metaphorical, it is measurable. There was actually a study of exotic dancers that found they made up to 30% more in tips during ovulation. She didn't change her skill, she didn't change her effort, her biology shifted and the money followed. The patriarchal economy knows what you are worth, phase by phase. It is always known. It just never told you. The sacred gift of ovulatory is magnetism, but not magnetism of performance, the magnetism of the egg. Kate Northrup calls this egg wisdom. The egg does not chase. The egg does not perform or pursue or exhaust herself in effort. The egg becomes so fully herself that what belongs to her is drawn in. The egg doesn't move. The egg calls. This is not passivity. It is a completely different and arguably more powerful mode of operating. The sperm, millions of them, exhaust themselves in the pursuit of the egg. The egg just is. They pointed your magnetism outward. They flipped the magnet. They turned your most receptive, most inward drawing phase into maximum output, maximum availability, maximum performance, maximum productivity. And your most aliveness goes to everyone else. And I call this the myth of the ovulating woman. It is the woman that we always see held up in cinema. We see her everywhere. Every woman in theater, like in movies, is meant to uphold this standard, even though that's not what we are called. And it's shown to us like that women should be like this all of the time. And that's not how we are all of the time, and you know it. And then they built an entire industry and sold it back to you. Contouring in luteal is luteal face trying to look ovulatory. The entire beauty industry is built on the gap, the distance between how you look at your peak and how you look the rest of your month. And we're putting peak in parentheses here because that is according to patriarchy. I think you look peak all of the time. She never learns to perform. She learns to perform at her peak, never to embody it, to inhabit it, always performing it shinily for somebody else. Luxuriate in your receiving mode. Stop performing and start receiving. Turn the magnet towards your own desires. What do you want to call in? What do you want more of? What feels good in your body right now? Let those days be for you. You are the egg. You call, you receive, you do not chase. The bloom fades, the magnetism quiets, and the glossy, expansive, radiant peak, it passes. And most women feel something like dread about what comes next. And I want to talk about that dread, because that dread, that bracing yourself, that is the theft living in your nervous system. That is not a feeling you were born with, that was taught. Phase 4, the truth teller. And then we arrive here. The most shamed phase, the most pathologized, the most publicly punished. Progesterone rises after ovulation and does something progesterone does not do. While estrogen opens you outward towards other people's signals, other people's needs, other people's realities, progesterone turns you inward, specifically towards your own threat response, towards a systems diagnosis, towards the question, what is working and what is not? This is not a malfunction, this is intelligence. Testosterone turns men outward and forward, towards risk, reward, towards conquest and acquisition. Progesterone turns women inside their own system to find out what needs to change, to find the cracks, to find what you have been tolerating and what we should not be tolerating. The sacred gift of luteal is discernment. The luteal woman is not difficult, she is accurate. And the same qualities that get called leadership in a man, decisiveness, directness, not suffering fools, holding a position without apology, those exact qualities in a woman get called PMS. The most decisive time of our cycle is our most socially penalized time. That is not a coincidence. They built the infrastructure of luteal shame because they have always known what happens when a woman stops being permeable. It's also why they hate women after menopause. She becomes difficult to gaslight. She sees through things. She stops softening her truth for the comfort of people who need her comfortable. Why are you being so rude? You're so emotional right now. Just wait until after your period. Waiting it out, waiting for her to stop seeing so clearly, waiting for the estrogen to come back and soften her edges. Not fixing what she was seeing, waiting for her to stop seeing. Every month, luteal came and told her what was wrong, and she fought it or held it in. Follicular came and the pressure released and nothing changed, and luteal came again and again and again. And the body running the same diagnostic, flagging the same problems, getting the same response, suppression, turns to suppression. When the diagnostic gets suppressed long enough, the truth teller gets silenced enough times, the body stops alerting you and starts screaming. Journal it. Decide in follicular. What comes up in luteal is real data. Honor it. Write it down. Every crack your system flagged, put it in the journal. Don't spend it in a fight where it will be dismissed. When follicular comes and estrogen rises and the world seems softer, go back and read what luteal knew. That is your signal. That is your closest reading. Decide what to do with it from the solid ground. This is how you make the luteal clarity durable. This is how you break the cycle of explosion and reset. This is how you stop manufacturing your own bitterness. 4 phases, 4 gifts, 4 thefts, 4 ways the body kept speaking and got silenced. Our body holds what the voice cannot speak. This is not a metaphor. This is our physiology. When we do not attend to these things, when we do not see ourselves, we do not hold our truths, our body turns to complete and utter dysfunction. Endometriosis, PCOS, adenomyosis, fibroids, all of these things are our body that has not been listened to, putting the content into a place that can hold it until we are ready to listen. The gifts are always there, running quietly under the shame, waiting for us to acknowledge ourselves and tell us that it was real. I want to speak directly to anyone listening who has been at war with their own cycle, who dreaded the luteal, who apologized for bleeding, who performed through ovulatory when she was exhausted, who spent follicular building someone else's vision and called it generosity. That war was not yours to fight. It was installed. Nobody ever sat you down and said, your body is a complete intelligent system. Every phase is a technology. The shame you feel about it was deliberately placed there. Nobody said that. They gave you the opposite. They gave you Midol and a smile and told you to push through. The gifts were always there, every month, every cycle. The revelation coming through the bleed, the vision trying to emerge in follicular, the magnetism asking to receive in ovulatory, the truth teller running her diagnostic in luteal. Your body never stopped telling you, even when you had no language for it, even when everyone around you was waiting for it to pass and called you a problem. It never stopped. We are building this church as a place where that body has somewhere to land, where that knowing that comes through in luteal, in the bleed, in the oracle time is not a liability. She is the technology. You do not have to start over. You do not have to have it figured out. You just need to begin giving your body a different response than suppression, one cycle at a time. May you receive today the map they never gave you. May your bleeding time be restored to its sacred nature, not inconvenient, not liability, not symptom, revelation, reset, the veil at its thinnest, bleed on it. May your emergence be spent on your own vision first. May you recognize the asks that come in follicular phase for what it is, extraction dressed as an opportunity. Spend your yes on yourself first. May you luxuriate, may you receive, may you let your peak be for you. The egg doesn't chase, she calls. She is sovereign in her stillness. You are the egg. And may the part of you they call difficult finally receive her name. Accurate, clear, sacred. Your luteal did not lie to you. Not once, not ever. Your body was not your enemy. It was the most loyal thing in your life. Go in the knowledge that every phase is a gift. Go in the knowledge that what was taken can be restored. Go in the knowledge that your body has always been telling you, and that now finally you know how to listen.